Today's video is going to be installing a remote start on a 2002 Toyota Highlander. I'm going to show you how I find all the information that I need for installing this into the vehicle. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Google, type in car alarm wiring, enter. And two of the sites that I use the most are this one right here, and then Commando Car Alarms. I'm just going to show you both of these real quick. So on the Bulldog site, you will go down to the vehicle that you are looking for. And then this information is everything you need to install a remote start. There's a secondary website I'm going to check on security bypass, but I'm just going to show you this real quick. So the other one is Commando Car Alarm wiring. Again, select your vehicle. And you'll see that the information is all the same. Alright, so this vehicle requires bypass for the transponder. So to get around that for the remote start, I use Flashlogic. So once you put in the information, this is going to come up with the different options that you have. So this is the one I go with the majority of the time. However, this unit tends to be cheaper, so you can go on Amazon and type in this part number or this part number and find out which one is the cheapest. We'll go ahead and do that now. Alright, so this one is $50.99 and it's Prime. So we'll try the other one. Alright, this one's about $10 cheaper. So we'll go. Alright, we're in the car. I'm going to take off some panels to access the wiring that we need. This wire is from the radio, the backup camera. Shroud. That's screw right here. It's going to be the transponder bypass that we'll wire in. Gotta find the key sensor. this wire. That does the factory alarm disarm. And then the main power is all right here. So that's where we'll be making our connections. Alright, I'm going to mount the antenna up here. I've already cleaned it off with acetone. I like to put the antenna toward the center of the car, up high. Gives you the best range that you can get. Okay. Instead, I'm going to run down the A pillar, get it down here. Then I'm going to mount the brain. Alright, I'm going to show where I'm going to get some of my wires. So the main ignition wires are going to be here. I believe the key sense wire might be here. The brake pedal switch is going to be this plug here. The driver's kick panel is where I'm going to find my parking light wires. Or my parking light wire. I'm also going to have to run some wire into the door for the door locks. That's kind of tricky wiring setup that I'll have to do. I'm going under the hood for the tack wire. And that's pretty much it. Brake, ignition, door locks, and tack. So I'll show you after I've made some of the connections. I'll show you how I make the connections when I do that. Alright, I'm going to show you how I make the wire connections. This next wire that I'm looking for is a black and yellow. It is my second ignition wire. I've already done the testing of the wires to make sure that they are what they say they are. So here I'm just going to strip back some insulation. And I'm not squeezing this all the way through because I don't want to cut any of the strands of the copper running through. So I'm just removing the insulation. And I'm going to poke a hole. I want to make this hole just a little bit bigger. Now I'm not going to, when I get to the main power wire, I won't be as willy-nilly with it. I'll be much more careful, but since I've got the harness unplugged from the ignition, and I know I'm not on the main power, I don't have to worry about any grounding out any of the wires. So strip back the insulation on the wire that I want to hook up. Kind of hold it tight, squeeze this main wire back closed, and then wrap the extra wire. And then now I'm going to solder it. And due to the size of these wires, it takes a little while to heat up the wire enough to solder it. So be patient, this will take just a minute. And if you just heat up the solder and melt the solder, that doesn't mean that you've made a good solder joint. So once it gets heated up, you'll actually see the solder wick into these wires. do like to get some solder flowing, and then I can watch for it to start to wick, and then I know we're good and I can add more solder. So I'm just going to load that up, and then when I see it start to wick, I'll add some more. I don't know if you can see that, but it just wicked up through here. Now I can see the wire's hot enough to melt the solder out here. So that's how you know that you've got enough solder, or you've got it hot enough to get a good solder joint. So I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of the connections, and then I'll turn back on and show you how I finished it all up. So here's what we've got after I made my connections and plugged everything back in. So I'll get the bypass hooked up, and then I'll show you the connections on that. They're going to be all on this connector right here. But like I'm just gonna cut and show you after I made the connections here. If you would like a more in-depth remote start video, just let me know and I'll be sure to make one. Alright, so this is the beginning of the end. The remote start's completely installed. We got lock, unlock, remote start. And now I'm just going to be cleaning up these wires. I'll give you one last snapshot after I get all the wires cleaned up and the brain tucked away. But this is it. Completed. Ready to reinstall the knee bolster and the steering column shroud. And once I'm all buttoned back up, I'll take another short video. One thing I wanted to mention is I had said that I was going to get the parking light wire and the brake wire in different locations than where I actually got them. This one right here is the parking light wire, and the brake wire I also found right here. So those were easier to access, easier to make my connections, so I went ahead and made them here. Alright, here we go. It's all tidied up.